Chris Level, Texas Tech Red Raider Radio Network and host of Locked On Red Raiders, joins us this morning. Hey, Chris.
Gentlemen, how are we doing this morning?
Alive and well is what I would say to that.
You were in Waco last night. I may have watched some of that.
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
Any feedback,
Great job.
Chris? Any feedback?
Ari always has a ton of feedback.
I thought James was on point. He was well researched. I thought his timing was good. He's working with a great dude in King McClure. So it's actually a really good broadcast on the Peacock, that was my first Peacock Big 12 broadcast to take in. But kudos. I thought that was well done.
Yeah, I felt like a boomer trying to log into my Peacock account, try to get the game.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I do now?
I appreciate the kind words. And setting an example for how Ari should be greeting me. All right, so the college football playoff, the aftermath is that Texas Tech is cleaning up in the portal. But, Chris, what's the one thing that as you're there, you're in it, you're on the sidelines, and you're thinking, man, if we just had that, we would win this football game?
It's funny because you're asking about the Orange Bowl. That feels like it was like 18 months ago that so much has happened. And that was like a week.
It was a week.
I mean, like, it's like, yeah, it's so far removed from that. I don't know if there was one thing, if I'm being honest. I think you needed everybody to be the best version of themselves. I think a mobile quarterback, I think, maybe a heftier offensive line on the interior would have maybe made a difference. I think Barron started feeling pressure, maybe even sometimes when it wasn't actually there. And you go back and watch it, there were some guys open, but I just think he was kind of on the run and just not a lot of separation from your outside receiver. I mean, Oregon deserves a lot of credit there. They were good, and I was just talking to Taman about it before we came on. But you get to that level, you're going to deal with. It's about matchups, and if you play an Ole Miss or maybe a Georgia or I don't know, one of these other teams, maybe we're still talking about Texas Tech still. But I think Oregon just happened to have a good defense, but an interior defensive line that I think kind of caused some problems for Texas Tech, and and then you've got a quarterback that just wasn't 100% healthy. But just a tough day. But man, hard to be upset about 12 wins and a Big 12 championship and all that when we didn't know where this was going to go. But now there's a standard that's been set.
Right, I think. And it was great to see you down in Miami, Chris. The game was a lot of fun to be there until the game kicked off. That's kind of how I've been saying it. It was awesome. Like, great environment, great atmosphere, tons of Tech fans. The building, I'd never been in Hard Rock before. I thought the building was cool. Like, everything was fantastic until the game kicked off. I wonder, and I think your point is very well stated about the interior of that defensive line, because it's. Both teams wanted to stop the run, and both teams, I think, did a really good job of it. The difference was Dante Moore was the quarterback who made plays when they couldn't run the football, whereas Tech just could not make plays in the passing game. Do you think, as this team was put together, let's leave Baron Morton out of this, the defensive line was hit. I mean, that defensive line was all time. I mean, especially with the way they played in that game against that Oregon offensive line, like, that was good. Do you think they missed on the offensive line?
I mean, I just don't, because one, they had one of the top portal additions a year ago, Hunter Zambrano. He basically missed the entire year. He's going to be one of what they're going to feel like is a portal addition for this year, because he's going to come back.
Yep.
And he was supposed to be one of your guards.
Great point.
And he would have added some bulk. I mean, I think he was one of the top interior offensive linemen a year ago, and he didn't play at all. So that's one factor. I don't know if they necessarily missed. I just think you have to say Oregon was just that was a tough matchup.
Right, because it wasn't like the offensive line was a weakness all year.
No, and there, Utah and BYU was as battle tested as you had got, like up front. And I think Texas Tech had some problems and then had some success against those two teams. But there was just nobody like built on the interior of the defensive line like Oregon was, and then you had all the other pieces to go with it. That's the thing is that and Oregon's been at this for 5 to 7 years and roster building and playing this game and Phil Knight University and all this kind of stuff. I mean, so they, and then they had the pain of last year. So unfortunately, it was just a tough matchup. But man, you tip your cap, and we'll see what the Ducks do tomorrow night against the Hoosiers in their rematch.
Well, Chris, you called it well over a month ago that, hey, don't be surprised if Texas Tech's starting quarterback next season is playing for a different team in the Big 12, and that is Brendan Sorsby, who is at Cincinnati, enters the portal, chooses Texas Tech over LSU. Why was Brendan Sorsby the guy that Texas Tech wanted at quarterback?
Well, one, he's a Texas kid, and I think that there's a lot of knowledge about him and relationships on Tech's roster. And Mac Leftwich's dad, who's at Lake Dallas High School, was kind of part of a staff whenever Brendan was in high school. So there's just a lot of connections, and that's part of it, because I think Joey's a big culture guy, right? And I think that's kind of the secret sauce here. People are going to look at what they're putting together in the portal class, and then obviously what they did last year. But that's what his gift, man, is, like meshing it together quickly and getting them to care and buy in and all that. And I think that Brendan, and if I'm being honest, I don't know if Sam Levitt is that guy. I think there's a lot of, I've been told by a lot of different folks, and I'm not just going to leave it at that. But I also think that Sam Levitt is injured right now, and I think that is a huge component. I think that there is some fear that the foot injury will keep him out until the summer, and I don't have that on authority, but I think there's enough intel out there that everybody he's going to wants to see x-rays, and there's some medical, and so you're going to dump a bunch of money into a kid, and then he's a runner. So what if you see what I'm saying? I mean, this is a tricky proposition for Sam Levitt. And plus, you won't find anybody that has anything bad to say about Brendan Sorsby. That's what we have learned. Teammate, culture guy. He's on draft boards like Sam Levitt is, and all the talent, and he's a mobile guy. But I'll tell you, so being from Texas, but I think his ability to run and that combo, and then the vetting that you do on the background, that's why they wanted him, and weren't really worried about what it was going to cost either. That you were in a bind, you were in a pickle. Texas Tech front-loaded so much money last year to their roster that they had a lot more still to spend this year, and I don't think they had necessarily earmarked anything for really a quarterback because unfortunately, Will Hammond, just a fluke deal. But this is a really good one, and so at the minimum, you will be really good at quarterback. Will you be great? Will it be elite? I don't know, but he's a second-team All Big 12 guy. But it's the 600 yards rushing and the 8 or 9 rushing touchdowns that changes everything. All those red zone questions that we were talking about all year, that immediately changes because of his ability to tuck it and go, and he's a very good athlete.
And to your point, he's a guy that can run, and I think it's obvious that had Tech had a quarterback that was a little bit more mobile in the Orange Bowl, things might have been a little bit different. So I think it's honing in on something that was a major weakness last year that could be a huge strength next year. Plus, the announcement came that Joyner,
Dickey and Jacoby Williams,
they're all back. And then what is the receiver room going to look like? What's the situation with Douglas and Virgil? I know Carter's coming back, and then are they going to add Cam Coleman?
Funny you say that. You would be about the 700th person that's asked me about I kid you not. I'm on the floor there at University of Houston the other night, and Tillman Fertitta is right there to my left with his seats. Cody Campbell was there in person. He was coming over to say hi to Mr. Fertitta, and then he said hello to me and all that. But in the meantime, I bet I got tapped on the shoulder no less than 10 times by Tech fans going, "Hey man, what is Cam Coleman going to be in town? Or do we have a realistic chance?" Okay, so Reggie Virgil and Caleb Douglas are moving on to the NFL. That is my assumption. Coy Aiken is still scheduled to be back. They still have Micah Hudson in the fold. They did get Terrence Carter. But then we start talking about the new additions. They're going to add a tight end to replace John Carlos Miller. So you'll have Terrence Carter with another tight end. And then they signed Kenny Johnson from Pitt, who was like an 800-yard receiver and a returner for Pitt last year. Watched his stuff in the last couple of days. Really good player. There's a young man from Liberty. Jalen Jones is a slot, and there's a kid from Liberty that is
Dante
a 6'3".
Lee Jr.
Yes, Dante Lee Jr. Thank you. Sorry, all these names have come in and out of my head, and I'm trying to memorize Colorado basketball players' names for this weekend, and my head's a jumbled mess. Yeah, Dante Lee. And I talked to somebody that coached against Dante Lee this year, and they said, I cannot believe this kid is in Conference USA. Basically, he's a faster version of Reggie Virgil. But to answer your question, Cam Coleman is in town right now. He was at dinner with Brendan Sorsby last night and Joey McGuire. And so I think that Texas A&M, and Texas Tech are all going to end up feeling pretty good here. But this is the big fish. And I guess my question is, if Texas Tech gets Cam Coleman, does it cause any other young receiver to kind of go, man, I'm just never going to see the field? Or if you don't get Cam Coleman, do you still go get one out there? But yeah, this is the freakiest of freaks. They've got one of the top safeties in the country coming in today, in Coy Parrish from Minnesota. They are in on, I believe Damon Wilson is his name, the edge from Missouri that just hopped into the portal. So they're trying to replenish their front seven, and they're just like the fans are in a frenzy just because it's like I think they're getting more excitement out of this than like the Orange Bowl win. If you'd have won that one, it's crazy. But this is where it's at right now. It's been a lot of fun the last week or so.
So Texas Tech and everybody talking about how much they spent on their roster this past season. Well, Oregon spent about $12 million more on their roster.
Did they? I hadn't seen that really written about or reported much. Yeah. Huh.
So
Okay.
with that said, Chris, I'm curious, do you think Texas Tech is spending about the same as what they did last year, or are they spending a next level up even more?
I'm guessing we'll see that written about at some point soon. I'd be willing to bet it's probably the same or more. I don't know and I'm kind of glad I don't know this, but I don't know how much they front loaded and all that and everything. And then I've had some people go, hey man, it's not really $5 million for Sorsby. I'm like, okay. I mean, I really don't care. It's not my money. I don't care what it costs.
Right.
Yeah. And then I saw his agent. His agent was actually quoted as saying, Miami, LSU, and Texas Tech all offered basically the same money. Yeah. And so we just kind of flipped a coin, and we were kind of narrowed it, but this was his gut. This is where he wanted to be. So who knows? But I do think they're not being stingy. I'll just say that. I mean, they're trying to put their best foot forward here, and they're going for it, guys. And I know it's bothering some people. Some people are like, heck yeah, man. But they feel like they've got a title to defend in the Big 12, and they want to go for more. And it's about relevancy. It's about pushing through. It's about doing what the commissioner said. We're going to earn our way in. So they're using every resource they can. I mean, I'd be willing to tell you that I bet Pat Mahomes was FaceTiming with Brendan Sorsby and Cam Coleman last night. That's how this stuff works. Again, you use every resource available. So
yeah,
man. Exciting times out in Lubbock. Chris, we appreciate your time. We'll check in with you soon on the portal stuff and basketball and all the things, and I will see you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, what game are you doing?
I think Texas Tech and Utah.
Okay, well, James, that's next week.
It is next week. Just hit me next week.
Yeah.
I'll see you in 6 days,
Hey,
Chris.
absolutely. Hey, keep hope alive, boys. Appreciate you having me on. And yes, it does not suck to be a Red Raider right now. So we'll talk next time. Appreciate
man.
it.
Take care.